This is the front pattern we drafted. Please, if you did not watch the drafting video, I'm going to leave the link in the description box below so that you watch it, so that you'll be able to understand this sewing video properly. I'll leave the link of the drafting and cutting video in the description box below. Go and watch it, then come back and watch the sewing video. This is the three-piece we cut for the front wide drafting. This is the center front, the middle front, and the side front. And I've gone ahead to iron a stay to both the fabric and the lining. I ironed it to both of them. I did same for all of them. That middle front is for 2 lining and 2 main fabric. Then that middle front is also for 2 lining and 2 main fabric. Same thing with the side front, 2 lining and 2 main fabric. So the thing we are going to do now is that we are going to join them together with the 1/2 inch we added while drafting. I'm going to join it this way. I'll join the middle to the center front, then join the side to the middle front, just this way. At the end of the day, this is what it's going to look like. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other one and join all of them together, because I cut all of them in 2. At the end of the day, we are going to have 6 pieces for the front. I'm going to join these 3, then join the other 3 and join all of them together. As you can see, I'm going to join it with the 1/2 inch we added where I was cutting on the main fabric, and I'm also going to do the same thing to the lining piece. Anything I do on the main fabric is what I will do to the lining piece. After joining the 3 pieces of the front together, this is what it looks like. This is when you turn it at the right side, and when you turn it to the wrong side, this is what we have. The 3 pieces I was talking about, look at them here. And the next thing we are going to do now is to join both of them together this way. Then all together, this is the 6 pieces we have for the front. This is it. I'm going to join it with the 1/2 inch allowance we added and show us when we are done. And this is the lining piece. Whatever I do to the main fabric, I do it to the lining. I also join it together. So the next one we are going to work on now is the back piece. The back bodice is the only difference between the front bodice and the back bodice is that the front is 3 pieces while the back is 2 pieces. And I also cut the back into 4 places, 2 lining and 2 main fabric. This is the side back. And for the center back, I also did the same thing, 2 fabric and 2 lining. And I've also ironed a stay to it. The next thing I'm going to do now is to join both of them together. I'm going to join both the center and the side together. All the 4 pieces, I'm going to join each of them together using the 1/2 inch we added. The next one we are going to work on now is the cup. The 2 cup. This is the center cup and the side cup, and I've also gone ahead to iron a stay to all of them, both the lining and the main fabric, and I cut it into 2 places just like I did for the main bodice. I cut the cup too, and I cut the lining too, and I'm going to use wording for my cup. I've gone ahead to iron my wording to the cup. As you can see, I've gone ahead to iron my wording to it, and I left 1/2 inch at the upper part of my cup. That is my joining allowance that I will use to turn the lining. My wording did not reach to the upper part of the cup. I've gone ahead to iron my wording to it, and I did the same thing to the other cup too. Here I'm removing my lining so that I can join the 2 cups together. And also, don't forget to notch the bust point of the cups when you are removing the pattern you use for drafting, because if you don't notch the bust point and you remove the pattern, it becomes difficult for you to join it. So I notched all my bust points before I removed my pattern from it. And this is how you join the 2 cup. You pick one part of the side cup and pick the one side of the center cup, just this way. This is one center front and one center cup and one side cup. You pick it this way, match the 2 bust points together that you notched, match it up and sew. just like so. Here is it, so that I place it this way to illustrate it properly so you understand. I placed one part of the side cup and one part of the center cup together. This is my two cup, two side cup and two center fronts. I've placed both of them the way I'm going to sew it. One side cup and one center cup, one side, the other at the other part, one side cup and one center cup. I'm going to match the two bust points together as you see me pointing. Then use the half-inch allowance I added and join both of them together. I'll also do the same thing to the lining. The next is the front yoke. As you can see, I cut the front yoke in 4 places because I want to use, at the end of the day it's gonna be 2, but I cut it in 4 places because I want to use the fabric to turn the other. Yes, I want to use one to turn the other. That was why I cut it into 4 places. And when you separate them, this is what you have. I placed one on top of the other and placed one on top of the other. This is how I'm going to sew it. See where I'm going to sew. This place you see me pointing now. From that edge, I will sew upwards as you see me pointing. This place you see me pointing my hand. This is where I'm going to sew. I'll sew from up to down or from down to up, whichever way. And again, this place you see me pointing now. That place that looks like the V shape, that is where I'm going to sew. Just there. And I will do the same thing to the other side. I'm just taking time to emphasize here so you understand. I will do the same thing to the other side. Sew here and sew at this point. Sew at that V area. I'm not going to sew at the down part, the shoulder and the armhole. I'm not going to touch it. That place I pointed is the only place I'm going to sew, and I will use the armhole or the shoulder to turn it out. Next is the back yoke. Just like I did for the front, I also cut the back yoke into 4 places. I'm going to use one to turn the other, and here I've separated the 4 pieces. I placed one on top of each other so that I can turn it. This is it. I placed one on top of each other, and it's right side facing each other. For that front yoke, it is right side facing each other. So for this back yoke, is the same thing. There, this is the place I'm gonna sew. From that neckline that you see me pointing, I'll sew towards the neckline, that button area, and also that curvy area. This place I'm pointing now, this is the only place I'm going to sew. I'll sew the neckline all through the neckline. I'll sew the neckline down to the button area and all through that curvy area. That is where I will sew. I'm not going to touch the down part or the armhole area or the shoulder area. That is where I will use to turn it out. But before I turn the neckline, there is something I want to do. I want to place my buttonhole in between the 2 yoke before turning them. So I make this tiny strap that I'm going to use for the buttonhole, and I made 2 of it. I sewed it down to one part of the yoke. I've not torn with lining yet. I've just made it this tiny strap, and I sewed it down like so to the yoke, to the back yoke. And this is the way I did it. After sewing the tiny strap, I just place it this way and sewed it down with 0.25. Next is to bring the other yoke I want to use to turn it. I sewed it at the right side, so I will bring the other yoke and place the right side on top of it. Both of them are facing each other on the right side. Then I will now sew from the neckline all through that buttonhole, then all through the curvy area. I'm going to use 1/2 inch to sew it. And here I was done joining the front bodies together, and this is how it looks at the right side. This is it. I've joined all the pieces together, and when you turn it to the wrong side, this is it. See the 6 pieces together. This is it. And I've also gone ahead to press open the seam. As you can see, I've ironed all the seam. I've pressed it open. Then I also went ahead and did the same thing for the lining piece. I've joined the 6 pieces for the lining together and also pressed open the seam. This is it at the wrong side, and when you turn it to the right side, this is what the lining piece looks like, the lining for the front piece. Next is the back piece. This is the 2 back piece. I've gone ahead and joined it, so as I explained, I've joined the back was 4 pieces before, but it's now 2. This is it at the wrong side. I've also gone ahead and pressed open the seam after joining it. This is what it looks like at the wrong side. And when you turn it over to the right side, this is what we have. This is what it looks like at the right side. Then this is the back lining. The same thing I did for the main fabric for the back is what I did for the lining. Whatever I did for the main fabric, I do for the lining too. I've joined the lining and I also press open the seam of the lining. This is it at the right side, and when you turn it over to the wrong side, this is what we have. This is the back. Then the next is our cup. This is our 2 cup. We have joined it, and I've also gone ahead to press open the seam. As you can see, this is the 2 cup we're going to use. I've gone ahead to join it together and I've pressed open the seam, as you can see. The next is the lining for the cup. Just like I did to the main cup, I also joined the 2 lining together and I went ahead and pressed open the seam just the same way I did for the main cup. That is what I did for the lining too. Next is the 2 front yoke. Just as I've explained, I sewed it at that point I showed you, and I turned it from the armhole. I did not sew the armhole, the shoulder and the down part. I only sewed that center and that triangle shape. That's the only place I sewed, and this place you see me pointing out, that's the only place I sewed, and I've turned it out from the shoulder. I did not sew the shoulder or the armhole. I did not sew that part. This is it when I was done sewing and I turned it out. This is what it looks like. Next is the back yoke. When I was done turning it, this is what, look at that buttonhole that we added. Look at how neat it is. That buttonhole is now in between the main fabric and the lining. That was why I attached it before turning with lining. Look at how neat it is. I did not sew the shoulder and the down part and the armhole area. I only sewed the neckline and this curvy area and the buttonhole. This is it when we were done. Next is to introduce our front bodice again, because we want to create the boning channels on it, and this is the fabric I'm going to use for the boning channel. I want to use a black, it's a doll face bridal satin. That is what I want to use for the boning channel. You can use the same fabric if you want, or use bias if you want, but this is the fabric I want to use. I cut it. The length is, you can cut the length as much as you want. The width is 2 inches. The width is 2 inches because the boning I want to use, this is the boning I want to use. The boning I want to use is, the width is 0.5 inches. The width of the boning channel you are going to make will determine the width of the bone you are using. So the width of the bone I'm using is 0.5. So the width of the material I want to use is 2 inches. So this is how I want my boning channels to be. We have 6 pieces for the front, and we have 5 lines, 5 joinings, 5 lines, as you can see. So automatically all those 5 lines, I'm going to attach boning to it automatically. Because of that 5 lines, I'm going to attach boning to all of them. Then after attaching the boning to all of them, The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another 2 lines of boning, because after creating the boning channels from these lines here, I now have 5 boning channels. So I want to add another 2 channels so that it will now be 7 boning channels in that front, and this is how I'm going to attach it. I'm going to create another line here as you see me pointing now. From that center, I'm going to mark another line, another 2 lines here. That is what I'm going to do, so that it will now be 7 lines boning channels. Then turning it to the front so that I can mark out the boning channels. I only use the back so that you can see it very well, see the lines. Next thing I did is that I placed my tape from the center line to the line close to it and measured the middle of it and measured it. I divided the distance from that middle line to the side line. Whatever I got, I divided into 2 so that I can mark out the line I want to use for my boning channel. I want the distance between that center line and the line close to it to be even after creating the channel. That is what I'm marking right here. This is the where I'm going to creating my channels from. There I have other lines already, so you feel free to create the channels as you want. And after joining the lines, this is the lines I have for my channel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is now the 7 lines I'm going to create my channels on. Let's head over to the machine right now and create our boning channels and show us what it looks like after. Yeah, I was done attaching almost all the boning channels I need for the top, but it's remaining one. This chalked part you see right here, I want to use it to show us the method I used to attach this boning channel. As you can see, the boning channel, I was almost done here. I want to use it to show us the method I used to achieve this. Very simple. There are so many methods you can use to attach your boning channel, but I choose to use this method. See how flat and beautiful it is. How to go about it. This is it. Fold it, fold the fabric you want to use for the channel. The first thing you do is fold it together this way. Fold it together this way. I folded it this way. You fold it with the right side. The wrong side will be facing each other. See, I folded it one on top of the other with the right side. That is how I folded it. And this is where I'm going to attach it to this chalked part, this chalked line. This is where I'm going to attach it right now. This is what you do. After you fold the fabric you want to use for the boning channel, you fold it into 2. Fold it with the right side. The wrong side will be facing each other. Then you come to the line you want to attach it to. The first thing you are going to do, you place it this way as you see me do. Just place it at that line. The tip of this folded edge now, this place now, you place it just right in front of the chalked line. And after placing it this way, you start sewing, you start stitching it. And the place you stitch from this place now, from this two folded end, you come in by 0.25. You come in by, you don't sew on this white chalked part, you don't sew on it. After placing your fabric this way, the fabric you folded this way, after placing it, you come in by 0.25 and sew. You come in by 0.25 and sew. Now let's sew so that you understand what I'm saying clearly. After placing it this way, I went in by 0.25, then I will start my stitch from there. When we were done sewing it with the 0.25 you went in by, this is what we have. This is the part we stitched. This is it. And the next thing we are going to do now, this folded edge, we are going to flip it over to this side. We are going to, this folded edge now, I'm going to flip it over to this side. I'm going to flip it over to this side. And when you flip it over, you stitch on it. You stitch on that folded edge. When you flip it over, you stitch at that folded edge. I'm going to do it right now. I flipped it over and I'm going to stitch on that folded edge. Very, very simple. As simple as that. After you flip it over, then you stitch on it. Just this way. You stitch at the tip of it. That is where you stitch, at the tip of it. Back piece. You can sew as many boning channels as you want. You can sew 2, 3, 4, 5, as many as you want. It depends on your choice. Just do your thing. So on this particular style, for this bag, I'm going to use 4 boning channels, and this is how I'm going to do it. From this joining part, here, from the line of this joining part, I came out by 1 inch towards the center back. So from the line of the joining, I came out by 1 inch towards the center back, and from that 1 inch I came out by, I want to attach another fabric. The fabric I cut is 4.5 inches by width. I want to attach it to this side because this is the eyelet casing side. So the back, the center back, I want to attach more stability to it. So I cut this fabric, and look at how I'm going to attach it. Let me show you guys. There are so many ways you do your eyelet casing. It's all your choice, but this is the one of the simplest way I want to use to attach it for this particular style. Let's sew. Let me show you how I did it. What you are going to do is, on this chalked part, that 1 inch you came out from the joining, on that chalked part, that place you chalk, you are going to bring the pieces of fabric you cut, and you are going to fold it with the right side this way. You are going to fold it with the right side, and after folding it, you are going to sew it on top of that chalked part. You fold it this way with the right side, and you are going to place it on top of that chalked part and sew on it at the tip of it. You are going to sew on it at the tip of it, just this way you see me sewing it now. You are going to fold the piece of fabric like so with 1/2 inch and place it on that chalked part and sew on the tip of it, just as you see me doing right now. I'm sewing on the tip of it on that chalked part that I marked. That is what I'm doing right here. I want to attach it to the eyelet casing to make it more stable. This is it. See how I'm sewing at the tip of it? Look at it this way. And when you are done sewing it, this is what it will look like. This is what it will look like. And when you open it up, this is what it's going to look like if you do it exactly the same way that I just did it. And when you turn it at the wrong side, this is what it will look like. So you are going to sew at that center back this way. You are going to sew on that center back and cut out the excess fabric that is left out from the pieces you join. So you sew on the center back and cut out the excesses. Here I'm done sewing at that center back, and I'm going to cut out this excess material that is left out. And here I've cut out the excess fabric that is left out. The next thing I'm going to do now is to create my boning channel, and from that tip that I just sewed, I will come out by 0.5 inches and sew with a straight stitch, because I already have two fabric there. So if I come out from 0.5 inches and sew with a straight line, I will infuse my boning into it, and I've already created a boning channel. And at that center back, I will still sew with another straight stitch after turning with lining, and create two other boning channel at the side with the black material. All together I will have 4 boning channel at the back, but you can feel free to create as many as you want. Here is it when I was done. From that tip, I came out and sewed a straight stitch, and my boning will be held onto it, and I attached another 2 boning channel with the black material. I will still create another channel at the center back when I'm done turning with lining. Then that is how my 4 boning channel will be formed, but you can do as many as you want. It's all your choice. And this is my front bodice when I was done attaching the boning channel, and these are my 7 channels neatly and beautifully done. So the next thing now is to attach my cup to it. When attaching the cup, you should be careful to place the side, not to confuse the side with the center. The side cup is fuller than the center cup, so place it very well. And after locating it, the next thing is to use your pin and pin it very well. I will use my pin and pin it and show up. This is how you pin it up. You locate the joining of the cup and match it up with the joining of the front bodice. That place you join the center and front, you match it up with the joining of the cup just this way. Make sure the two joining are matching each other this way, and use your pin to hold it. I'm going to use my pin right now and pin it up. See how I pin the joining of the cup and the joining of the front bodies together. Now I'm going to pin it all around and show us. That is what I'm doing right now. And after pinning it all around, this is what we have. This is what it looks like. I've not sewn it. I only used the pin to hold it down. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other cup. I will go and do the same thing and sew it all around and show us. And when I was done sewing my cup, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like at the right side, and when you turn it to the back, this is it. So the next thing now is to attach our yoke to it. And this is how to go about it. You bring the yoke. This is how it will be when we are done placing it. This is what it will look like. This is the 2 front yoke. This is how it's going to look when we are done attaching it. So for us to join the yoke to the bodice, we have to turn it over this way, as you see me do now, and match the 2 armholes, the armhole part of the yoke and the bodice. We match it up this way and use your pin here and pin it all through. As I'm pinning it now, you pin it, mash it up and pin it properly. Then after pinning it up, this is what it will look like. Here I was done pinning one part of, this yoke has 2 legs. I was done pinning this side I was done pinning the side to the armhole. It is now remaining to pin this one that will be at the center, and this is the way we are going to pin it. Remember when we were drafting it? I'm done pinning the one for the armhole. I've pinned it down. See, I've pinned it down. And when you flip it over to the right side, this is what it's going to look like after you are done sewing it at the wrong side. See how I pinned it? When you are done pinning it and you turn it out, this is what it will look like. So, for you to know where you are going to place this one for this center, remember when we were drafting it, I measured 3 inches from this dart leg, from the dart leg, from this cup now, from this line, when we were drafting it, the line between the 2 cups, that is how we drafted this yoke. I measured 1.5 towards outside from the center of these two cup, I measure 1.5, 1.5. So the total space that is going to be between these two leg of this yoke, it has two legs. So the distance that is going to be between them is 3 inches, because I took 1.5 and 1.5 inch from both sides. So for you to know where you pin the other one, when you are done pinning from this armhole, you first of all pin from the armhole. After pinning it, you stop here, then you measure from there to 3 inches. You measure from where you stop to 3 inches. That is where you are going to start to pin the other one. You get? So wherever this one's the first one stop from the armhole, you measure from there to 3 inches. Then you pin this one the same way you pin the other one. I'm going to pin it now. So after measuring from that place to here, this is where my 3 inches. This is where my 3 inches starts. I use the chalk to mark it, so I'm going to pin from there. When I was done pinning it, this is what it looks like. I'm going to sew on it all the part that I pin. I'm going to sew there, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other yoke off camera, sew it down and show us what it looks like. Just the same way we did to the front, we are going to attach our back yoke. This is what the back yoke is going to look like when we are done attaching it, and this is the way to attach it. You just flip it over this way and sew on it with the sewing allowance you added, just like this. Then you turn it over, right side facing each other, and sew with 1/2 inch. Then you turn it over. This is the way to go about it, and you do the same thing to both of them, just this way. Here, I've also attached the cup to the lining for the front bodice. This is it. When you turn it over to the wrong side, this is what it looks like. This is the front yoke when we are done joining it. This is what it looks like. And this is the back yoke when we are done joining it. This is what it looks like. The next thing now is to introduce our lining and turn it with the lining. You have to turn the yoke over this way and place your lining on top of it, just like so, right side facing each other, and match the upper part, match it up this way. Match it up. You can use a pin to hold it down if you can't sew it, just like that, and sew on it. After matching it this way, you sew on it, then top stitch on it and notch don't forget to notch on it, because it's a curvy area. Notch on it and turn and hold the side. Then after that, you also turn the back yoke this way, flip the yoke like this, and place your lining on top of it, just the same way you did for the front. After placing the lining on top of it, right side facing each other, you are going to sew at this upper part this way. Sew at this upper part and sew at the center back. That is the only place you are going to turn with lining, the chest line and the center back. Then you are going to use the down part or the side to turn it out. That is it. And you do the same thing to the other side of the back. Now let's go and turn it out with the lining. So when I was done turning with lining, this is what it looks like at the right side, and when you turn it to the wrong side, this is the lining side. This is it. I only sewed the chest area from where the yoke is starting from. I did not sew the side. I did not turn the side and the down part. After joining the lining at that upper part, I notched up, stitch on it and turn it out, as you can see. Then I just held down the side, and I did not sew the down part because I need to attach my boning before sewing down the down part. This is it. And after that, I turned the back bodice, as you can see, both back, and this is what it looks like when we were done. This is it at the wrong side. So, and I only sewed the side, the center back, and that upper part. And this is that boning channel I told you guys that I'm going to put when I'm done turning with lining. After turning with lining, I use 0.5 inches to run down a straight stitch down, and at the center of it you will see the space for the eyelet opening. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring the front and back bodies together and join at the shoulder, just like so. Match it or match the side up and join both shoulders together. But before I do that, I'm going to attach my boning to it first before I join it, and this is the way I'm going to attach the boning to it. This is what you do. You bring the boning you want to use. To avoid the sharp edges at the boning, you either use your masking tape to hold the wrap the mouth, or you use light. Here I'm using light, but I'll advise you use lighter or candle. Don't mind me that I'm using matches for this. Please don't do it. Use lighter or candle. That's the best way. Or use your masking tape. And see, I've use the light to make the mouth not to be sharp, and I'm now putting my boning into the boning channel that I made for it. I'm going to attach my boning to all the channels that I made. That's what I'm doing right now. After putting all our boning in the boning channels, this is what it looks like. I'm still going to iron it flat. I'm going to iron all of them flat. And here I was done putting the boning for all the two back and the front, and I have also joined at the shoulder as I explained, and I used the pin to hold the side front and side back together. I used the pin to hold it. I'm going to iron the boning flat because it's so curvy right now. If I iron it flat, it's going to relax, and I use a pin to hold the side so that I can shape our blouse. This is it. I have not sewed it. I only use a pin to hold it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to, when I was cutting it on fabric, I added 1 inch sewing allowance for the side. So I'm going to mark out the 1 inch sewing allowance right now and show us. And this is it right now. I've marked the 1 inch sewing allowance that I added when I was cutting on fabric. So I'm going to go and sew on this shocked part now. That is where I'm going to sew on this 1 inch shocked part that I marked right now. I'm going to sew on it and show us the next thing to do. And here I'm done shaping the two sides with the 1 inch sewing allowance we added. I'm done shaping it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is that 1 inch sewing allowance. I'm going to cut half from it because I only need half to do what I want to do. So I'm going to cut out half from it and show us the next thing we are going to do. After cutting out the half inch, this is the half inch that is remaining that I'm going to use. That is what it looks like. So the next thing we are going to do now, from that waist area that the curve started from, we are going to put a notch there. At that waist area that this curve started from, we are going to notch on it. I'm going to tell us the reason for the notch, but I'm going to get my scissors now and place a notch there and show us the next thing to do. There is something else we will do after notching it. You open it up this way. I'm going to press open the side, that side that I notched. I'm going to press it open and attach a boning there and use a bias and hem the down part. You can use any sleeve of your choice that you like. It's all your choice. So I'm going to notch the side as I told you now, and after notching it, I'm going to press open the seam, and after pressing open the seam, I'm going to attach a boning at that side. Here I'm notching it as I explained. This is it. This is the notch there at the waist, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, notching it. Then I'm going to go and iron it flat, iron open the seam, then attach another boning to it. And this is it. Here I was done attaching the bone to the side. Look at it here. Look at the bone I attached to the side, and look at the other side here. I attach another boning to it so that it will have the conical effect at the side. And this is the down part. I use the black bias to hem down the down part, neatly hem it down. Look at it, look at it, look at the down part. I use the bias to hem the down part. So the next thing now is for us to iron our boning. This is it. I iron the boning, I iron the side flat. Look at that notched area. I iron it flat before I attach my boning. So iron your own flat before you attach your boning to it. I iron it flat before I attach my boning. So I'm going to iron my boning. Every other part will be iron flat, but this part that is curvy, I will show us the way to iron it. That was the reason I put the notch, so that it can freely curve. So this is the way to iron it. This is it. You have to iron every boning channel flat except that curvy area. You see the way I'm holding that curvy area while ironing the flat surface. I hold the curvy area this way, and this is how I'm going to iron the curvy side. I'm going to use my tailor's hammer and place it this way as you see me do now, and I will continue to mold it, curve it, iron it curvy the way I want it to be. Look at the way I'm ironing it. You see the essence I put that notch. The notch now has helped it to freely curve. If I didn't put the notch there, it will be difficult to bend it this way and iron. So I'm going to continually iron it the way I want, use my tailor's hammer to mold it the way I want. That is what I'm doing, and this is the way you do your own. If you do it this way, your own will come out. Look at how curvy it is. I'm going to iron the other curvy side the same way. After that, our top is almost done. I'm going to open the back with the eyelet. I've already attached the sleeve. Feel free to use the sleeve you want. And when placed on the mannequin, look at our beautiful dress popping, and look at that curvy area. Look at how curvy and standing it is. You see the essence for the notch and the way we ironed it. Look at how beautiful and how snatched the waist is. Look at it popping and how neat it is. You can feel free to use any type of sleeve you want. It's all your choice, but this is the sleeve I want to use. As beautiful as this top is looking on the mannequin, you can imagine how it's going to look on the client that is going to wear it. Look at it now. Look at how neat it is. So my beautiful people, we have come to the end of this tutorial. If at this point you have not subscribed to my channel, please, Ejo, I beg you now, please subscribe to my channel and welcome to the family. Subscription is absolutely free, and when you subscribe, hit the notification bell beside it so that you will be the very first person to get notified whenever I post a new video. And please give it a thumbs up, I beg you. Please like it. After watching, like it so that other people will be able to benefit from the video. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Anything you think at all, please let me know. I will be glad to see your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much, and see you guys in my next video. Bye.